It's funny how so many things change, but all at the same time, they really stay the same. Before, the reports were, all right, the Ravens could possibly put the non-exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson, or they could put the exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson, or they could come to an agreement with him. Everybody was laying out all these different possibilities. So then everything finally got cleared up, and now things have changed to where, all right, well, this team is not expected to be interested in Lamar Jackson. That team's not expected to be interested in Lamar Jackson. We've spoken to so many different teams, and we don't expect anybody to be interested in Lamar Jackson. And to all that, I answer the same exact way. We don't know. We don't know. With Lamar Jackson, the Ravens obviously placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on him. But with today, well, as of this recording, today being the opening day for the legal tampering period with Lamar Jackson, it doesn't open for him yet. Because today is a day where teams can talk to players' agents and they can verbally agree to contracts. But since Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent, he can't talk to anybody until Wednesday at 4 p.m. So he won't even be able to start whatever the next step in this whole process is going to be. He won't be able to start it until then. Jeremy Fowler, he said that he does not anticipate anybody making an offer to Lamar Jackson. He said he's talked to multiple teams, and all the multiple teams that he talked to said that they don't think anybody's going to make him an offer. And then NFL Stroud, who's been covering the Bucs for literally forever, he said that the Buccaneers' plans at QB for the 2023 season, they will not involve Lamar Jackson, according to him. So, again, more reports on teams that are not expected to be involved. But again, we just really don't know. We don't know. We really don't know. I was reading this article the other day. It said, what's next in the Lamar Jackson saga? Teams cannot send in offer sheets on Lamar until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And we talked about that. This is because Jackson doesn't have an agent. As of noon Eastern time on Monday, teams can talk to the agents of prospective free agents, but not to the players themselves. So anybody who wants to negotiate a deal with Lamar Jackson has to wait until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, that's clear. That's understood. Based on the conversations I've had, there are teams interested in pursuing a potential Jackson trade if he decides he wants out of Baltimore. But I don't know that you'll see anyone submit a formal offer sheet that puts 2 first-round draft picks at risk if the Ravens don't match. I think teams would rather talk to the Ravens about a more traditional trade, though, of course, they'd also at some point have to talk to Jackson because he'd have to sign the franchise tender before he could be traded. So, yes, that we know about Lamar Jackson holding those cards in his chest right now. Like, hey, can't nothing happen unless I actually sign this franchise tag. Nothing can go down without him signing that franchise. Nothing. So he has a lot of the power right now, but that does make sense. Is it true? It could be. Because again, I can't sit up here and be like, all right, well, I believe that there's no teams that are interested in Lamar Jackson. Nobody's going to sign him to an offer sheet. That would just be so insane to me if that were the case. Now, we'll see. We'll see if that ends up going down. But I don't know. I just don't see it happening like that. But we won't know till we know, right? We won't know till we know. Now, somebody posed a very, very good question. And I wanted to talk about it. And this came from my guy, Ant. And I say, you know what? Let's go ahead and do a couple of questions from subs. We might as well. We're here, right? He said, just an opinion. Hey, I hope all is well, my guy. When you get a chance, listen to the end of this interview at the 140 mark. And it was the interview. It was the presser with Lamar Jackson, where he was asked at the end of the presser, hey, we heard that you turned down a contract for, I think she said like $180 million guarantee, something like that. It was early on this past season. And he was like, was it fully guaranteed? And I know y'all know exactly what pressure I'm talking about. Anyway, he said, with that being said, I see why the Ravens gave him the non-exclusive tag. It's because he's really pushing for a fully guaranteed contract. Just from hearing the interview I sent, not the media post. We are a smart organization. Not at all times, LOL. And don't want that to be the new normal on our end. I believe we will let him test the market, and if some other team offers a fully guaranteed deal, I think we will match. But We just don't want to be the team that offers it initially. It looks better to be the billionaire boys club. They would blame the owner who initially offered it to Lamar, not Bisciotti, for matching. Maybe a chess move by the Ravens, but just my opinion. Sorry for the long message. Have a great day, morning, night, whenever you're reading this. Appreciate it. So, my guy Ant said, it's almost like the Ravens are like trying, if it does end up being a fully guaranteed deal, and if the Ravens end up matching it, they could be like, say for instance, just using them as an example. I know they just traded off to get the number 1 overall pick, the Panthers. Just using them as an example, not saying that it would be them. Just an example. So nobody take it literally. It's just an example. But anyway, say for instance the Panthers, they signed Lamar to an offer sheet, and it was fully guaranteed. The Ravens could be like, okay, we're not the ones that wanted to do fully guaranteed, but we're going to go ahead and match it because we want to keep our quarterback. So that would sort of put the blame on the Panthers for continuing a trend of fully guaranteed deals for the quarterback, and that would take a lot off of the Ravens. The Ravens could be like, hey, it wasn't us. We wanted to keep our guy. We didn't want to do the fully guaranteed thing, but hey, the Panthers, they made us do it. So I could see that happening. That is like, it's realistic. That could be what could be going down. And again, we won't really know till we know, because we don't know what the terms of the deal that the Ravens offered to Lamar Jackson are. We don't know. Again, it's so much stuff that we just don't know, and we won't find out. Some stuff we'll never find out, ever. But some stuff, we got to just wait till it comes to the surface. So, another question from my guy, Paul. He said, NFL future revenues in Lamar Jackson's contract. You made a point about teams keeping as much money as they can. This makes sense, but why would the Chiefs give almost $500 million to Patrick Mahomes over the next decade, and the Browns, Deshaun, $250 million? It seems that NFL revenues tend to double every decade. $4.8 billion in 2001, $8 billion in 2011, and $17 billion recently. This means in 2033, the NFL may be a nearly $35 billion annual business. In that regard, the Mahomes and Watson deals will be seen as investments. Oh, they're certainly investments. Oh, you know they're certainly investments. What I mean when I say teams try to keep as much money as they can, and just really in businesses too, because they want the ultimate profit. Because if you can pay your employees and it can be cheap, you can pay your employees cheap, but you can get maximum production out of them. As a business owner, you're like, oh yeah, let's get it. I'm winning, baby. But yeah, you all right. That Patrick Mahomes deal, it is worth up to $500 million. He got to hit some different incentives. But yeah, and Deshaun Watson's deal, and they just restructured it, by the way. But yeah, that's a lot of money. Anyway, he said, if the Ravens see Lamar as a driver of that growth, then doesn't it make sense to make the long-term investment? Oh yeah, who you tell? Yeah, it does. I agree with you. What he said, this also means even poorly run losing teams will be making $1 billion a year. Yeah, it's business, man. It's business, and there are different teams, like all these different teams, they making money. Losing team, winning team, obviously, usually the winning teams make more money, especially if you've been winning consistently, because fans' interest is there a lot more. You be getting the nationally televised games if you got the popular players on your team and whatnot. NFL is a business, and they in this thing to make money. So popularity helps, the fan interest helps, the ticket sales help. That, like, all that stuff like goes hand in hand. And then of course, if you're winning, that helps a whole lot. Another question came from my guy Gareth, who's a Team Keep It Clean patron, and he has been for 2 years. I appreciate you, Gareth. He said, hey, Ingravenvids, Darius Smith asked for his release. He should have stayed with us. How life changes. Love you, bro. Hey, I appreciate it. And it was Darius Smith. They haven't granted him anything yet. They ain't granted him no release. He did ask for it. And yeah, it's funny. He could have been a Raven last year, but he was like, no, man, Then he got a different deal from the Vikings, but I think it turned out that the deal that the Ravens offered was actually more than the Vikings. But he was like, no, I'm straight. It's the same way with Bobby Wagner last year, too. Ravens offered Bobby Wagner more guaranteed money than the Rams did. But he said, nope, I'm going there. And now he's released a year later. And I know Rams, they got to clear up some money and whatnot, because they sort of hitting that reset button. But hey, that's life in the NFL, man. And then before we get out of here,